For many families in Fort Wayne, Indiana, one television channel was a constant, friendly presence in their homes. This was WFWA DT2, the local affiliate for the PBS Kids 24/7 channel. It was a safe harbor in the vast sea of television programming, a place where parents knew their children could watch shows that were not only entertaining, but also educational and kind. Day and night, the channel offered a continuous stream of beloved characters and gentle stories. It was a reliable source of comfort, a digital babysitter that families could trust completely, which made its broadcast feel like a safe and protected space for the youngest viewers in the community. This channel was special, not just for what it showed, but for how long it stayed on the air. Around the country, many other cities saw their 24/7 PBS Kids channels shut down, replaced by other programming as media landscapes shifted and changed. But in Fort Wayne, WFWA DT2 kept the light on. It continued to broadcast the familiar theme songs and colorful worlds of shows like Arthur, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, and Wild Kratts. This extended run made the channel a unique and cherished part of local culture, a testament to the community's commitment to children's programming and a familiar backdrop to countless childhoods across the region. The consistency of the channel was its greatest strength. Parents knew that at any hour, whether it was early in the morning or late at night, they could tune in and find something appropriate for their kids. This reliability built a deep sense of trust between the station and its audience. It wasn't just another channel on the dial, it was a part of the family routine. Children grew up with the characters, learning about friendship, problem-solving, and the world around them. The station was more than just a broadcaster. It was a silent partner in parenting, offering a dependable and positive influence that was always there. Because of this deeply ingrained trust and familiarity, no one ever expected this safe space to be violated. The channel was a walled garden, protected from the harsh realities of the outside world. It was a place of innocence, where the biggest problems were a lost library card or a disagreement between friends. The idea that something jarring or frightening could ever appear on this specific channel was simply unthinkable to the families who relied on it. This unwavering belief in the channel's safety made the events of one particular day in 2016 all the more shocking and unforgettable for those who witnessed it. It was a seemingly normal afternoon in 2016. Across Fort Wayne, children were likely sitting in front of their televisions, captivated by the animated world broadcast on WFWA DT2. Perhaps an episode of Arthur was playing, with its familiar characters navigating the gentle challenges of being a kid. The sounds of the show would have been a common and comforting background noise in many households, a sign that everything was as it should be. The sun was likely shining outside, and parents were busy with daily chores, confident that their children were safe and entertained by the wholesome programming that the PBS Kids channel consistently provided every single day. Suddenly, without any warning, the familiar cartoon world was torn away. The screen went black for a split second before the loud, piercing tones of the emergency alert system blared through the speakers. This sound is designed to be impossible to ignore, a jarring signal that demands immediate attention. On the screen, the familiar red and white banner of an Amber Alert appeared. The alert provided critical information about two young children who had been abducted by their non-custodial mother. For parents watching, the alert was a chilling reminder of real-world dangers, a stark contrast to the innocent cartoon that was just on screen. The interruption was doing exactly what it was designed to do: spread vital information as quickly and widely as possible. The details of the abduction were displayed in stark, simple text, scrolling across the screen. It listed the names and descriptions of the missing children, information about the suspect, and the vehicle they were believed to be traveling in. While the familiar cartoon audio had been silenced, the alert's own automated voice may have read the details aloud, its monotone delivery adding to the grim and serious nature of the situation. It was a moment of shared community concern, a brief but important pause in daily life to focus on a crisis. As the alert continued, a strange thing happened. The audio from the Arthur episode, which should have been completely silenced, began to fade back in. It was quiet at first, a faint and ghostly echo playing beneath the serious tones of the emergency broadcast. This was the first sign that something was not quite right with the broadcast. The cheerful, innocent sounds of the cartoon world started to bleed into the stark reality of the Amber Alert. This technical mishap created an unsettling mix of tones, blending the carefree world of children's television with the terrifying reality of a child abduction, setting the stage for something far stranger to come. As the Amber Alert continued its solemn scroll across the screen, the technical issues grew worse. The faint, ghostly audio of the cartoon underneath the alert was just the beginning of the broadcast's strange breakdown. The text of the alert itself, which had been clear and steady, began to flicker. It would disappear for a moment and then reappear, its lines of text becoming slightly distorted, as if the signal was struggling to hold itself together. This electronic stuttering was unusual for an emergency broadcast, which is typically robust and stable. It made the urgent message harder to read and added a layer of digital anxiety to the already tense situation. The screen then went completely black for a few seconds, a silent void that was even more unnerving than the flickering text. The only thing that remained was the faint, out-of-place audio from the Arthur episode still playing quietly in the background. It was in this moment of pure blackness that the glitch truly took hold. When the picture returned, it was not the Amber Alert banner. Instead, the screen was filled with a single static image. This image was a freeze frame taken directly from the Arthur episode that had been so abruptly interrupted just moments before. A familiar scene now presented in a completely new and disturbing context. This was not just any freeze frame. The image had been horrifically altered. It showed the main character, Arthur the Aardvark, staring directly at the viewer. But his normally friendly and expressive eyes were gone. In their place were two deep, solid black pits like empty voids. The change was profoundly unsettling, transforming a beloved and comforting character into a figure of pure dread. The simple, clean art style of the show made the alteration even more jarring. It looked like a page from a child's coloring book had been defaced by something dark and malevolent, twisting innocence into something truly nightmarish. The horror of the image was made complete by two small words. Inside the black voids where Arthur's pupils should have been, the words "Help me" were written in a crude, shaky font. The message was simple, direct, and terrifying. Combined with the character's frozen, vacant stare, it created a powerful and deeply disturbing tableau. The cheerful audio from the cartoon continued to play underneath this horrifying image, creating a surreal and nightmarish sensory experience. It was a perfect storm of technical failure and terrifying imagery, a moment that burned itself into the memory of anyone who saw it happen live on their television screen. Arthur the Aardvark is a character known and loved by millions. For decades, he has been a symbol of childhood innocence, learning, and the simple challenges of growing up. He is a friend to children, a gentle guide who helps them understand things like friendship, family, and doing the right thing. His round glasses and friendly smile are instantly recognizable and associated with feelings of comfort, safety, and nostalgia. He is the last character anyone would ever expect to be a source of fear. The show's entire purpose is to be a welcoming and positive space for young viewers, making it a trusted staple in households everywhere. The glitch on wfwa DT2 took this beloved icon of innocence and twisted it into a vessel for terror. The image that appeared on screen was a complete perversion of the character. By blacking out his eyes and inserting that desperate plea for help, the glitch transformed Arthur from a friend into a terrifying figure. The black eyes were devoid of all warmth and life, suggesting something sinister and hollow had taken the place of the familiar character. This corruption of a trusted and safe symbol is a classic element of horror, as it attacks our sense of security at its very foundation, turning a source of comfort into a source of dread. The specific phrase, "help me," added a chilling layer of narrative to the otherwise static image. It implied that the character himself was trapped, suffering, or being controlled by some unseen force. It begged the question, who needed help? Was it a prank? A message from someone in distress? Or was it something far more sinister? The ambiguity of the message made it even more frightening, allowing the viewer's imagination to run wild with terrifying possibilities. Coming in the middle of a real Amber Alert, the plea took on an even more horrific weight, seemingly connecting the fictional horror on screen to the real-world tragedy of the missing children. This transformation of a familiar, friendly face into a mask of horror is an incredibly effective way to create a lasting sense of fear. It's one thing to be scared by a monster you've never seen before, but it's another thing entirely when something you have always trusted turns against you. The image of the distorted Arthur violated the safe space of children's television and left a scar on the memories of those who saw it. It broke the unspoken promise that certain places, like the PBS Kids channel, are supposed to be protected from the darkness of the world, making the experience profoundly unsettling. Just as suddenly as it had appeared, the terrifying image of the distorted Arthur vanished from the screen. The technical glitch, whatever its cause, seemed to correct itself. The screen flickered once more, and then the standard Amber Alert banner returned, its text scrolling calmly as if nothing had happened. The unsettling freeze frame was gone, replaced by the official impersonal information of the emergency broadcast. The faint audio from the cartoon playing in the background finally faded away completely, leaving only the quiet hum of the television and the serious message of the alert. It was a jarring return to reality after a brief, terrifying trip into a digital nightmare. The Amber Alert remained on screen for a few more minutes, continuing to display the critical information about the missing children and the suspect. Then, a new update scrolled across the bottom of the screen. It was the news everyone had been hoping for, yet it was delivered with a somber finality. The children had been found. Tragically, however, they were found deceased. The Amber Alert was officially canceled. The emergency broadcast system tones sounded one last time, signaling the end of the alert. The screen went black for a final brief moment before the regularly scheduled programming on wfwa DT2 resumed its course. An episode of another PBS Kids show started playing, its cheerful theme music filling the silence. The world of cartoons returned, with its bright colors, simple stories, and happy characters. To an outsider tuning in at that moment, everything would have looked completely normal. There was no sign of the frightening image, no mention of the glitch, and no acknowledgement of the horrifying interruption that had just occurred. The channel moved on, continuing its 24/7 broadcast as if the fabric of its reality hadn't been momentarily torn open, revealing something awful and strange underneath its wholesome surface. For those who had been watching, however, things could not simply go back to normal. The memory of what they saw was seared into their minds. The image of Arthur with those black, empty eyes and that desperate plea for help was impossible to forget. It was a deep and disturbing crack in their perception of a safe and trusted television channel. The chilling coincidence of seeing such a horrifying image during a real-life tragedy involving children only amplified the terror. The broadcast may have returned to its usual cheerful programming, but a dark and unsettling memory now lingered for a small group of viewers in Fort Wayne. In the immediate aftermath of the incident, there was no official confirmation or explanation. It happened so quickly and on a local channel, seen by only a handful of people. For those who witnessed it, it might have felt like a strange dream or a trick of the mind. Did they really see what they thought they saw? Without any physical proof, the story was just that, a story. It was a strange and unsettling memory shared by a few, but it had no life beyond their own personal recollections. In the days before everyone had a smartphone ready to record at a moment's notice, bizarre events like this could easily fade into obscurity. However, in the age of the internet, no strange event stays buried for long. Weeks or perhaps months after the incident, the first piece of evidence surfaced. A single grainy screenshot appeared on an obscure internet forum. It was the image Arthur, his eyes black voids, the words "help me" staring out from the darkness. The user who posted it claimed to have snapped a photo of their television screen during the broadcast. The image was low quality, clearly taken with a phone camera, but it was enough. It was the proof that the witnesses needed, confirming that the horrifying glitch was not a shared delusion, but a real event. The story gained more traction when a short video clip was uploaded to a video sharing site. The clip was shaky and only a few seconds long, but it captured the crucial moment. It showed the Amber Alert on screen, the faint cartoon audio playing underneath, and then the sudden cut to the terrifying freeze frame of Arthur. The video was uploaded by a user with a strange, nonsensical name, a guy who consumes raidbug killer, which only added to the mystery and creepiness of the entire affair. The video was raw and unedited, which made it feel authentic and all the more chilling to those who watched it. This digital evidence gave the story a new and powerful life. The screenshot and the video began to circulate online, moving from obscure forums to more popular social media sites. People who had never even heard of Fort Wayne or WFWA were now seeing the disturbing image and hearing the story behind it. The digital artifacts transformed a local, unverified incident into a piece of internet lore. It was no longer just a memory for a few people. It was now a shareable, viewable piece of media, a digital ghost that could be summoned with a simple click, ensuring the eerie tale would not be forgotten. With the screenshot and video circulating online, the story of the WFWA Amber Alert incident began to evolve. It was no longer a simple account of a broadcast glitch. It was becoming something more. It was transforming into a modern urban legend, a type of folklore known as a creepypasta. These are horror stories that are passed around the internet, often presented as true accounts to make them feel more immediate and frightening. The Arthur incident had all the perfect ingredients for such a tale: a corrupted piece of childhood innocence, a mysterious and unexplained technical failure, and a connection to a real-life tragedy. As the story spread, details were added, changed, or exaggerated. Some versions claimed the "help me" message was a supernatural plea from the spirits of the children in the Amber Alert. Others suggested it was a deliberate hack, a malicious prank played by someone with a twisted sense of humor. People debated the authenticity of the video and screenshot, with some trying to debunk them as fakes, while others defended them as genuine evidence. This debate and speculation only fueled the legend's growth, as each new theory added another layer to the mystery and drew more people into the narrative. The story tapped into a very specific and modern fear: the corruption of technology. We rely on technology for information, entertainment, and safety, but we also have a nagging anxiety that it can be turned against us. The idea that an emergency alert system, something designed to protect us, could be compromised and used to broadcast something terrifying is deeply unsettling. It suggests a loss of control, that the digital walls we build to keep the world safe and orderly can be easily broken. The WFWA incident became a perfect cautionary tale for the digital age, a story about the ghosts that can haunt the machine. Ultimately, the question of whether the incident was real became less important than the story itself. The legend took on a life of its own, becoming a piece of shared culture among fans of horror and internet mysteries. It was told and retold in forums, on podcasts, and in YouTube videos, each telling cementing its place in the pantheon of online folklore. Like the campfire stories of previous generations, the tale of the eerie Amber Alert served as a way to explore our shared anxieties in a safe context. It was a scary story that felt just real enough to send a shiver down your spine, a perfect urban legend for our connected world. Perfect. The enduring power of stories like the WFWA Amber Alert incident raises an interesting question. Why are we so willing to believe and share these tales, even with little to no concrete proof? One of the primary reasons is that they tap into our deepest, most primal fears. The fear of harm coming to children is almost universal, and the story directly connects its horror to a real Amber Alert. Furthermore, the corruption of innocence, turning a beloved character like Arthur into a figure of dread, preys on our sense of safety and nostalgia. These stories work because they target the anxieties that are already lurking in the back of our minds. Another key factor is the way these stories are presented. They often mimic the format of a true account, filled with specific, verifiable-sounding details like the name of the TV station, WFWA, the city, Fort Wayne, and the year, 2016. This technique, known as verisimilitude, makes the fictional narrative feel plausible. When a grainy screenshot or a shaky video clip is added to the mix, it acts as evidence, blurring the line between fact and fiction. Our brains are wired to look for patterns and confirmation, so when we see something that looks like proof, we are more inclined to accept the story as true, at least for a moment. The social aspect of sharing stories is also crucial. Sharing an urban legend is a way of bonding with others. When you tell someone a scary story, you are inviting them to share in an emotional experience of fear and suspense. In the digital age, this happens on a massive scale. Sharing a creepypasta on social media is like a digital campfire, where people gather to speculate, get scared together, and feel like they are part of an in-group that is in the know. The act of sharing the story is often more important than verifying its truthfulness, as it fosters a sense of community around a shared mystery. Finally, these legends persist because they are simply more interesting than the mundane truth. The real world can often be ordinary and predictable. A story about a broadcast glitch caused by a simple technical error is boring. A story about a haunted television signal, a malicious hacker, or a supernatural message from beyond the grave is exciting and memorable. These narratives provide a sense of mystery and wonder, suggesting that the world is a stranger and more mysterious place than it appears. We believe and share them because on some level we want to believe in a world where such strange and inexplicable things are possible. The story of the eerie wfwa Amber Alert incident, whether rooted in a sliver of truth or born entirely from fiction, has left a lasting mark on the corner of the internet devoted to spooky tales. It serves as a powerful example of how modern folklore is created and spread. It is a ghost story for the 21st century, one where the haunted house is not a physical building, but the vast, interconnected network of our own technology. The tale demonstrates our collective anxiety about the very systems we have built to inform and protect us, and the fear that they could one day show us something truly terrible. This legend endures because it is constructed from elements that resonate deeply with us. It takes the trusted, comforting world of childhood programming and violates it in the most disturbing way possible. The image of a beloved character transformed into a monster is a potent symbol of lost innocence. When this is combined with the real-world horror of a child abduction, the story becomes almost unbearably grim. It's a narrative that forces us to confront the idea that there is no space, not even a children's TV channel, that is completely safe from the intrusion of darkness and fear, a thought that is profoundly unsettling. Ultimately, the tale is a reflection of our own fears. We fear for the safety of children. We fear the unknown. We fear the loss of control over the technology that permeates our lives. The Arthur glitch gives a face to these anxieties, a familiar, friendly face made terrifying. Sharing the story allows us to confront these fears from a safe distance, to explore the dark possibilities of the world without having to experience them firsthand. It functions as a modern-day fable, a cautionary tale about the unpredictable nature of our world and the digital ghosts that may lurk just behind the screen, waiting for the right moment to appear. Years from now, the story of the wfwa incident will likely still be told. New generations of internet users will discover the grainy screenshot and the shaky video, and they will feel that same chill that the first viewers felt. They will debate its origins and share it with their friends, keeping the legend alive. The truth of what happened on that day in 2016 in Fort Wayne may be lost to time or may have never existed at all. But the story it created, a shared nightmare of a familiar friend turned into a terrifying omen, will continue to echo through the digital ether, a testament to the enduring power of a well-told scary story.